Welcome to Energizer Podcast. I'm your host, Tameka Chapman. This month is the month of Black History. What better way to talk about Black history? What better way to highlight women of color than to have a conversation that's talking about the Black woman? So, this month we are highlighting a series that's dedicated to the Black woman as we talk about mental wellness for Black women. Mental wellness for Black women. And I am joined by some amazing ladies that is joining me. We're going to talk about some good topics. We're going to talk about navigating microaggressions. We're going to talk about also unveiling mental health stigmas for Black women. We're also going to talk about the balancing act. How do we balance and juggle, I like to say, our careers, our families, our self-care, and our mental wellness? And then we're also, we'll hit you with our last episode where we're talking about healing through sisterhood. How do we build those support networks? So help me introduce and welcome to the stage Alicia Sylve, who is the CEO of Cantrell Consulting and Co., and Stacey Livingston, who is an LPC associate. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank y'all for being here. Thank you all. Look, I'm country. Let me just go and put that disclaimer right here. I am country, okay? So you may hear
Quite
a
all
little
right.
bit. You may hear a little bit of countryness come out, and that's okay. That is all right. However, we're here to talk about mental wellness for Black women. So before we dive into our first topic, let's introduce you all. Let me do a proper introduction. We'll start with you, Miss Stacey Livingston. Please tell us a little bit about who you are in your day to day.
Oh, whoo, child.
Uh-oh.
I am. My name is Stacey, everybody, and I want to say that I'm excited and honored to be here. I am recently graduated from Texas Women's University with a degree in counseling, my master's in counseling and development. So I am currently pursuing my LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor, clinical mental health. So I am aspiring to be a clinical mental health therapist. Just a little background, I have been in leadership in corporate America for over 20 something years. I'm going to age myself, but a minute. And a few years ago, I just felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like there was something missing. So I began to pray about some things like, what is it that I want to do? I want to be fulfilled. And God led me to, you need to be a therapist. Huh? Me? Who? What? I love helping people. I've been in leadership, like I said, for years in corporate America, and it just kind of was a good transition. So with that said, I am currently taking studying for my license. Preparing to be a therapist to help people because I think that we as African Americans need it. I want to focus on Black communities. In communities, period, communities of color, because I think that there's, like we said, there's so many stigmas, and we need people to trust us.
Right.
We need people to trust us and to feel safe, and be in environments where they feel safe, because we don't feel safe as a community. So.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you so much for being obedient. Okay.
Sure. Yes.
Thank you so much for that, because again, we need to see faces that look like us. We need to see faces that look like us, that we can relate to, that we can believe have gone through certain and similar struggles, because it makes it easier for us to open up. It makes it easier for us to say, well, this is what I'm going through, and believe that you'll understand because of our similar identity, similar cultural backgrounds as well. So again, thank you so much for being here. I know this is going to be a big conversation.
Yes.
Alicia Sylve, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Alicia Sylve. I am CEO of Cantrell Consulting and Company, which is basically it's a multi-publishing firm. So we hit on books, we hit on media, business consultations, a whole lot of stuff. And Stacey, you mentioned community. So this year, I'm actually coming back into the media world. So I am starting at home. I'm starting from my roots right there in Nashville, Louisiana. I'm getting them up and I'm bringing them up with me. So I'll definitely be focusing on sisterhood in that manner. And I'm just excited to be here. Tameka, thanks for allowing me to be on your platform. Thanks for having me back. Oh, don't let me forget to mention, I am a new mom. I am officially a boy mom. Yes.
Congratulations.
5 months. And I'm loving it.
Congratulations.
I am.
Beautiful.
I'm excited.
I'm loving it.
I am excited. And I know that you have lived a life that's definitely going to be able to speak to some of the conversation that we're having tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited. I'm excited. So thank you both again for your yes to being here as we talk about mental wellness for Black women. So we're going to start off. Our first conversation is going to be about managing and navigating microaggressions.
Mm-hmm.
But before we hop into it, I think it's best if we define microaggressions, because as I said earlier, I was one of the ones who really just needed to look it up just to make sure that I wasn't about to mess some stuff up, okay?
Right.
So we're going to define microaggressions and give a slight example before we get into our good, juicy conversation. So microaggression is a term used for commonplace verbal, behavioral, or environmental slights, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative attitudes towards stigmatized or culturally marginalized groups. That's a lot of words, but I'm gonna give you an example right quick. I think you're gonna all understand microaggressions when I tell you about this example. So some examples of microaggression include treating someone as a second-class citizen because of their gender, race, or sexual orientation, complimenting a person raised in the U.S. on their English simply because they are not white, or telling a person with obesity that they should just eat less. Okay? Those are what's considered microaggressions. So let's start the conversation out about microaggressions in the workplace. I know we all have at one point in time worked in the worked in corporate America, in the workplace. What are your thoughts on, or do you believe that microaggressions impact our mental wellness in the workplace? Let's start with you, Stacey.
It happens every day.
Right.
And let me say, this is a little personal for me, because I like I said, have worked in corporate America, been in leadership, and I actually developed anxiety. Like, I have been diagnosed with anxiety. I have to take medicine, okay? From just being so anxious at work and having to put on a different face. A couple of years ago, I had one of my, this way back, I had a boss tell me, she was a white woman. She called me in the office. She said, "You know what? I like you. She said, "You're not ghetto like most Black people."
Wow.
Most Black women. That's what she told me. And I thought to myself, wow, you speak very well. You speak very well. How am I supposed to speak?
Right.
And it's just been so much. And then, I've had it with even, my last job that I was at for almost 10 years. My senior VP, he was a Black man, okay? Told me, you can't talk like so-and-so, okay? Now, she can get on the floor and, oh my God, do all of those things, right? But you can't do that.
Oh, wow.
Because they're going to see you as angry. I can't be emotional. Okay? I can't be emotional. I can't be, I can't express feeling. I can't lift my voice. You know what I mean? Or I'm seeing, of course, we all know the angry Black woman. I mean, I've literally had people tell me this throughout my career. Right. And literally had to walk on eggshells and do things differently and react differently every day.
Right.
It became overwhelming.
Yeah. I can definitely identify with that in corporate working. And me being me, I tell y'all I'm good in country, and I will mess up some words in a heartbeat and laugh about it at the second heartbeat. However, I know how to talk. You know what I'm saying? I know how to talk. I grew up mimicking how my teachers taught, because I always wanted to make sure that wherever I went in the world, that they would understand me. I wouldn't be looked down upon because I had a Southern drawl or a Southern accent, being from Louisiana, right? However, once I got into corporate America and I saw some of the things that were happening, and I was just like, hold on, you gonna take that? Like, hold on, we're not supposed to say something back to that? I've never been the one that's gonna keep my mouth closed, ever, because we shouldn't have to take that.
Right.
And that was before, now we've come to the whole conversation of microaggressions. We've come to the conversation of, it's not right for you to talk to me that way. It's not right for me to have to deal with how I feel, or the anxious feelings or the frustrated feelings that I feel, because I got to show up every day and still put a smile on my face and get the job done if I want to get that check every other week. Right. There's been so many situations that have happened in my career in just the last few years before I resigned. There was an incident that happened where I was walking to my car in the garage. No, I was walking into work one morning and all the lights in the garage went off. And so I was walking, because I'm used to it. I've been there for what, at that time, like 6 years at that time. So it wasn't anything that should have scared me, but there was this one guy that was walking and he started making a sound like Jason makes. Now all the lights off, okay? And the only light that's on is actually in the elevator bay. And so when I heard it, I took out running. And once I got to my desk, listen, I'm not even playing around. But once I got to my desk, I actually talked to the supervisor, the security guard. They brought it their chief and everything. And once I got to my desk in my office, they had made a call up to my supervisor to tell them what was going on or what had happened. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm glad y'all being proactive about it. However, he came into my office trying to downplay the situation, like I should have scared. Well, I mean, are you okay? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, I'm not okay. You see me shaking right now, sir. I'm like, I couldn't even keep still because it scared me that bad. Like, we all know what that sound means from watching a movie.
Right.
So you can't play like that and act like, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna laugh, but I'm not laughing with you, sir. I will hit you in your mouth. Like, don't do that. Like, that's how traumatized I felt at that moment. And then I felt like he was mimicking me because of my fear or whatever, however I was feeling in that moment, trying to talk it down so I wouldn't press charges. They never wanted to tell me who the person was, who the guy was. I never learned out who the guy was. They would not tell me who it was because he came through the elevator bank the same, right after me. He had to swipe his card. So stuff like that, where you made to feel as if you're crazy or you shouldn't the way that you feel is not okay. It's not okay. So Alicia, is there any time in your history of working in corporate America, working with all the different places you may have worked, that you've experienced anything like that?
So I wouldn't just say corporate America. It started when I was younger in junior high. I had a teacher, and she had been at this school for years upon years. And this school was out in the woods. And, but I couldn't laugh along with my classmates. I couldn't even act like I wanted to smirk without her telling me something. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why you laugh so loud? So, things like that. Like, I didn't feel comfortable going to her class. And after so many days of going through that, like, I would sit in the principal's office and, sit there until that class would be over. But that's something that sticks with me. Her just putting me out in front of everyone like that. Like, if the kids laugh, it was my fault. I wasn't a class clown. And I gave her, I consider myself a comedian, but I didn't want mom and daddy to have to come to the school now. They don't play, okay? So yeah, but I gave her some words of encouragement of how to treat me, so yeah, it started then. And, going into the workplace, I guess I've never realized it if it happened inside of the workplace. Because I've mostly worked around my kind, and I didn't feel like there were any superior to me. Your title may be superior to mine, but like we on the same level. So, I moved to places, letting people know how to treat me ever since that in junior high. So if it happened in the workplace, I didn't catch on to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned about, it happened in junior high and how you then began to assert yourself and believe, I'm gonna speak up for myself as I now age. I wanted to hit on this.
Sassy, but I didn't get out of place with her. I respectfully told her how I felt about her.
Very respectfully. But
Very
let's talk. Can we talk about working with our own kind or being around our own kind, and also, microaggressions that may come from our own community? Have you ever faced that? Because I think even though, most times when we think of microaggressions, we're thinking about corporate America, we're thinking about, others that aren't of color and how they treat us. But also I think that it would be very not wise of us to also realize that even with our own culture, there are some microaggressions that have happened. And I know for me, for one, just growing up, being told that I sound like a white girl, just because I wanted to talk with better English than the rest. I wouldn't just let the slang happen and sling out of my mouth. I wanted to speak with good English so that I could, the whole thing of get into a good school, be able to have people understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. Okay. And so have you ever experienced, Stacey, any kind of microaggressions from within the culture?
Oh, honey, it started within the culture for me. I'm not from Texas, so I am from New Jersey, right? And so when we moved to Texas, I was about 7 years old. And I grew up in, I guess I was so young. It was a diverse area, I would say. Italians, white Italians, and all that, right? But when I moved to Texas, it was predominantly white. I grew up in a city called the Colony, Texas. Okay, white people. Okay, and so it wasn't a shock for me because I, kind of grew up, in a melting pot. But what I got was always, "Why do you talk so white? Ooh, you a white girl. Ooh, you were Oreo." I mean, to the point to where when we would play black schools, I'd be scared of the black girls because I thought, I felt like they didn't like me. It wasn't many black people out in the colony, and all us black girls, we stuck together, and we all spoke proper. I mean, how I didn't understand that. Like, why you talk white? I was like, I don't understand that. This is just how I started talking. I don't make myself talk like this,
Right.
Even to this day, and I'm single. When I date, oh, you think you white? You think you all that because you talk proper? What in the what? What does that mean? And it's unfortunate because even my kids get it. My son's too funny. My son's little cousin, she grew up in the black, and her mom said something about, "Oh, this is so and so's mom," and the little baby said, "Oh, you my proper cousin, mama."
Oh.
Proper cousin, mama. What the heck is a proper cousin? I said, so the whole family thank y'all.
Right.
Right. And as I've gotten older, we talk about code switching, baby. I code switch real quick. I code switch and, go and turn it off and on, but it's like, I think, my dialect is a lot different now that I'm older, but I know how to turn it off and on. But it's just when I'm around my kind, when I'm comfortable, right? But yeah, I got it my entire life. I was never black enough for the black people. And it was almost like I had to prove myself. I'm not proving myself to nobody.
Somebody.
I'm gonna be Oreo if that's what you want me to be, because I'm not doing that. I know who I am, and I'm proud to be black.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you a question, Stacey. As you went through that, can you now think about, was there any kind of impact to your mental wellness and how
yeah.
you were treated and how you had to deal with that on a constant basis.
It
How do
made
you
me
think
very
that impacted
insecure.
your
Yeah,
right?
it made me extremely insecure. Like I in some ways you still feel like you're not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're not good enough for them, and then you show not good enough for the white folks. You know what I'm saying? So where do I stand? I felt invisible, and left out, and I still deal with those things, and it's difficult because I mean, as I've gotten older, I'm coming into myself. But for a long time, I felt invisible, not good enough, and left out. And it, I made bad choices in dating and all of those things, felt like I needed to date a thug, not a thug, but somebody that was told, so
A
I could
roughneck.
prove myself that I'm down, I'm who, not who, you know what I'm saying? And it was still never good enough for them.
Right,
So
right.
now I'm single and I'm embracing that, and I'm just saying, because it's you're gonna love me for me who I am now.
Right,
What I mean,
right.
but yeah, it definitely made me developed a lot of insecurities.
Right. I get that. I will even add on to that. When I got to the point of feeling like I was having to prove myself over and over and over, I was actually in the military. And I remember so many people around me, they would look at me and they would think that I was stuck up just because of the way that I looked. Now, I said some choice words in my military days. I wasn't as refined as I am now, okay?
Right.
Because you get to a point you get tired of it. I'm just like, if you don't get out my face.
Right.
However, it was during that time when I thought, okay, why am I trying to prove myself to anybody? To anybody. And I made it my pact to myself. I don't care where I am or what it is that I'm doing. I'm just going to show up as me. Either you accept me or you don't. Like I live a lot of my life trying to prove myself just inside of my family.
Yes.
And even though I wasn't, it wasn't like somebody was looking down on me. I was still trying to prove because it was like I wanted more and I wanted more and I wanted more. But I didn't feel that I was getting at the time, right? And so as a grown woman who is fully aware of who she is and her talents and her gifts and what it is that she has to offer the world, there is no way that I am allowing anybody to talk down to me or feel as if it's okay to talk down to me any kind of way. And even when I was, I think I was like 236 pounds at one point. You couldn't tell me that I was, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cute, okay? I'm cute. I may be overweight, but I'm cute. I know how to dress my body. And I wish somebody would say something about my weight. I'm confident in who I am. I know my flaws. I don't need you to point them out because I point them out myself if I need to. However, we're not going to start the conversation on talking down about anything about Tameka because I'm not going to allow that. And so when we think about our self-awareness, which is where I'm going to now, when we think about the role that self-awareness play in navigating microaggressions, what are some things that you think that we can do to start cultivating a better sense of who we are? So that way, when we are in situations that, somebody may say something, or there may be a slight of the look, or, you can look at somebody across the room and you can understand what y'all are talking about without saying words. Now, how do we navigate that? Especially when we're on the receiving end of it.
I think, like you said, it's about self-awareness, and it's about realizing you have to realize who you are first. You got to have that courage to be able to speak up, and feel confident in speaking up. And I just wanted to mention, the whole Taraji thing and how she spoke up, and people were saying, a lot of people were saying, that wasn't the right time. She shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, no, she should have spoke up because they're always trying to quiet us. Shut up. Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't, be quiet, and she said what she needed to say. I don't care whatever time it was. For me, that's my opinion. But I feel like at what point was she not? If she wasn't supposed to say it then, when was she gonna say it?
When?
Never,
Exactly.
because y'all trying to shut her out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I think for the longest time, again, like with her, she had been quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to speak up, honey. Right,
Yeah.
for years. It's time to speak up. But again, you've got to mature emotionally in your emotions, and you have to get some confidence about yourself and know who you are and feel safe in knowing that I don't care whichever way it goes. If it goes back, I'm going to speak my truth.
Right.
Exactly. And
You
I think if we can get to that point of being so self-aware,
yes,
you know, before we get to burnout mode, before we get to
Yes.
frustration mode and we're exploding every time we get, and I'm not saying Taraji exploded because I support,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
I support Taraji, okay? I don't care
Right.
what movie's going on. At the end of the day,
Right.
mental wellness, and you know, that's just like mental wellness. Mental wellness does not care. You know, our mental health does not care what, you know, certain thing is happening, what event is happening. It doesn't matter, because when those emotions raise up in you, you can't do anything but respond. And you know, how do you respond? So for those who are feeling like Taraji should have responded in another way, well, you're not in that situation. You don't know how you would have responded really in that situation. So at the
Think
end of
about
the
the
day,
trauma.
no, I'm just saying I applaud her for standing up for herself and speaking up, because like you said, it's too many times when we are silent, we are told to continue to be silent, because if we speak up, oh, this person's not going to be happy and that person's not going to be happy, or this is going to happen and that's going to happen. At the end of the day, I believe God got me. So if anything happens, he going to take care of it, and he going to take care of them in the situation is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
What were you saying, Stacey?
I was just saying that people don't understand the trauma that we go through. You know what I mean? Like, just like the trauma that you went through with the teacher. Come on now, that is already trauma, laying the groundwork for traumatic and toxic behaviors and you know, self-sabotage within yourself. You could have went that way, but you didn't. You spoke up for yourself, right? But she tried to instill that in you. You understand?
At an early age.
Yes, at an early age. It happens young. So who knows how long this woman or whoever has been acting and been quiet. And who knows how long people been doing her wrong. That's just like even with me. Nobody knows the trauma that I've experienced and incurred along the way. Right? And then, you know, you don't want to blow up. But when you speak up, they consider it as a blow up because they don't want you to say nothing, period.
Right.
See, people they don't want exposure, because if you expose, that means there's a chance for change.
Yeah.
Come on.
People don't want to change.
They don't want to change. They
You
don't
know?
want it. Yeah. And I love that you hit on that. That was the last thing that I was a part of before I resigned. They felt that I would blow the whistle in a way, because I was being treated so much differently than anybody else that I worked with. I would be there at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. I would leave at 2 and 3 o'clock the next morning after working all day with migraines every single day. Nobody else was doing that, right? And then you have the nerve to expect more out of me than you expect of anybody else. And this is other you know, people at my level, they're the same color as me. However, I'm being treated differently because they expect me to be at a certain level and stay at that same level, because I set the bar that high. When you set maybe this is a conversation that we can, you know, keep going right now or have it at a later time. But when you set the bar at a certain height, right? And it's so hard for anybody else to get up to that level. How do we, you know, as women of color, as leaders, as CEOs, as executives, how do we then navigate having to deal with our mental wellness while still keeping ourselves at that level, because that's what's expected of us? You know, do we say that it's okay to take time off? Do we take the time off? Do we seek out mental wellness, mental health therapy? Do we take the time away? You know, we have this vacation time that we built up, but do we really take the time off? Because I can say I did not. Like, I never took off like a whole 2 weeks of time off from my job. Like, I would take off like 4 hours here, a day there, add an extra day to make a 3-day or 4-day weekend, but I've never taken off like 2 weeks straight as you're supposed to, as they say they want you to. But can we talk about that for a second, Stacey? How do we as leaders and as Black women leaders maintain our sanity while still maintaining that level of quality, of excellence that we presented and what we are known for? How do we navigate that with our mental wellness with that?
So I feel like, oh, this is good. This is real good. I feel like self-care is so important. And I have some y'all my new contacts. There is this schema. It's called so I was looking at in my research and African American women, mental health, and why is it that we are so full of we struggle with anxiety and depression and untreated, undiagnosed, and we suffer, right? So it says many African American women are heavily burdened by unmet mental health needs, yet underused mental health services, right? So this is what we were talking about. When you're talking about setting expectation, because that's just who you are. You have a spirit of excellence, right? That's just who you are. And people expect that of you. But we have to learn to cut expectations. I don't need you to expect nothing out of me.
Yeah.
Because when you have an expectation, there is this underlying thing that I have to be perfect all the time, that I got to continue to prove, and I'm not doing that.
Right.
Okay. But we've done that because we operate from a spirit of excellence, and that's what we've been taught. Everything's great. You set the bar high, right? So this is called the Superwoman schema. And basically it was a study that they started. It's called the Superwoman schema framework. And basically what it is they are looking now under Superwoman, and we're talking about African American women. And it says the Superwoman role involves perceived obligations to project strength, suppress emotions, resist feelings of vulnerability and dependence, succeed despite limited resources, and prioritizing caregiving over self-care.
That's good.
Oh, wow.
We're seen as superwomen. So what is that saying? We can't look out for ourselves. We got to always prove ourselves to people. We got to overlook our health, physical and mental. We're always trying to strive and do this. We can't be vulnerable.
Right.
And we can't express it.
Exactly.
So then you start to get burnout, right? You start to burn out. You start to become anxious, like I was. I mean, literally, I was having panic attacks. The ambulance was coming to the job. They had to take me to the hospital. I was so embarrassed. I thought I was dying, and I was having a panic attack.
Wow.
And I remember the doctor saying to me, you need to let go of some things. You're holding it too much in. You're trying to be this. And, and I was a single mom too. So I was overwhelmed. But I had to learn, and we as Black women have to learn to trust ourselves again and to give ourselves back in self-care. Because honey, let me tell you, the job that I have now, I'm still a leadership role, but I don't have direct reports. Thank you. I don't have that to worry about anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
I manage a process. Okay.
Right.
And let me tell you something, baby, I takes all my time. Okay. I got 160 days a year. I'm going to take 140, probably 150 and roll the rest over and take them over. Okay. Plus sick time. I'm going to take my days.
I love that. I
wasn't always like that though.
Yeah.
In fear of this, and this. Now I'm self-care.
That was going to be my next question of, what are some things that we can do to begin coping and overcoming, the mental wellness aspect of dealing with microaggressions. Alicia, you know, you told us that you learned to speak up for yourself, and you just began speaking up for yourself as an adult. And I would second that motion that she does.
Yeah.
Um, but I will ask you this, Alicia, as you learn to speak up for yourself, you know, not allowing people to just run over you, not allowing them to speak down to you or talk down to you in any kind of way. Have you been on the receiving end of any kind of negativity because you speak up for yourself?
Of course, of course. So I just want to back it up a little. Y'all talked about the spirit of excellence. I feel like when we stop allowing people to put us on those pedestals, you know how we do the pastors and stuff, pedestals, and when they fall, everybody's just distraught, right?
Yes.
Expect nothing out of me. That's what Stacey said. Right. Expect nothing out of me, and you won't be disappointed. So, you know, self-awareness and just. I like to make sure everyone that's around me is aware of self as well as me. So, like Stacey said, don't expect nothing out of me.
I love that. I was watching a YouTube video earlier with Pastor Mike Todd and Tim Ross on the B side. And I was just like, you know what? Other people need to hear these messages. And so every time they hit on something hot, I'm just like, posting it on social media, posting it on Facebook. Y'all gonna get this good sermon tonight. Right. And so with that, one of the things that I posted was stop expecting people to be perfect. Stop expecting people to be perfect to your level of what you expect them to be, how you expect them to be, how you expect to hear them, see them, you know, be around them, experience them. Because at the end of the day, we are human. We are not perfect. We are flawed human beings. We stumble and we fall because we are human, not God. And so I think so that goes along with, I ain't mean to interrupt you, Alicia, but I just had to jump in there real quick. I think, with what it is that y'all saying, if, you know, we stop trying to expect people to be a certain way, and then we stop allowing them to expect us, which then puts that pressure upon us to be what they expect us to be. It gives us more grace for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we get into that point of not meeting expectations that other people have set upon us, what does that cause? It causes us to feel like a failure. Okay, we are failing because we're not living up to the example that you have created in your head that I should be for you. And so I'm not being that for anybody. I'm Tameka, country girl. You know, I have good English. Okay, however, I will slip a couple country words in that because they just slip. However, it's my background. It's who I am. But as you said, I love to do things with excellence. I love to do it, and I think that sometimes can get in the way of getting things done as well. When we are so focused on being excellent because of what's been ingrained in us from, you know, being a kid of. You gotta make sure you go this level and make sure you beat that level. Like I remember my dad, you know, daddy telling us, you better bring all A's home. Okay, I can do that. That's nothing. You know what I'm saying? You know, you bring a B home, it's like we gotta have a conversation. But that is what trains us as kids. It trains us to be the way of, okay, I have to be better. I have to be better than what I was yesterday. And then to the point of I have to be the best. You know, that's a lot of pressure to put on so many kids that I still see nowadays of parents really pressuring kids to be the best. The best at what? They're kids. Like they don't even know what life is just yet. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Go ahead
on, Alicia.
No, I was just gonna answer your question that you asked me before I backed it up. Because I can back it up. You asked about if I received any backlash or anything like that. You know,
standing up for yourself.
I stopped getting invited to places. And at first it hurt it, and then, you know, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just create my own lane. That's what I do best. I'm gonna create my own lane, and you can still come if you want to, because, you know, at the end of the day, I have God in me.
Yes.
You know, you can't see me any kind of way, but I still have me, and I love you regardless. But yeah, just not being invited certain places or just looked at differently because either I wanted more or I'm getting more. I'm going after what I've set my goals on, you know, my eyes on or whatever. But yeah, just not getting invited. That hurt.
It could be a lonely place.
I think that not getting invited can be a blessing. What'd you say, Stacey?
I said sometimes it can be a lonely place.
Yeah.
Once you start standing up, you're so right, standing up for yourself. Like even with friends, okay, being truthful and honest and in love.
Right.
Now I'm telling you, this is all within love. I love you, so I'm telling you this with love and explaining it to you in a way that you can receive it with love. And still they find a way to attack your character, turn around, attack your character and ostracize you.
Right.
But it's okay though, because again, I know what that is. That's that spirit of manipulation. You know, that's that you're doing that because you don't want to change. You don't want to look at yourself. You know, and you know, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I've been there. It's a lonely place when you start speaking up. Oh, she always blowing up on folks. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. And it's love. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But combative. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They try to what they try to do is they try to attack your character. They do. They would but look, you said a word. You know who you are in God. You know your character. God knows. So that's all that I need on my side. Okay?
Exactly. I love that. So here's the thing. We're going to wrap up this conversation as we're talking about microaggressions, but I have one last question.
Okay.
You know, what can organizations do? What can corporate America do? What are some things, some practices, some different changes that they can implement within their own culture to start helping to combat the microaggressions that employees are partaking in? What do you think about that, Stacey?
Diversity and inclusion. I am so glad that these companies now have DE&I executives. Funny thing, they're always of color, women of color. They always Black women in these high positions because you know they feel like that looks good, but at least they're trying. Okay. I know, like with my job, we actually have different groups, D&I groups. I'm a member of the Black professionals, and we talk about it. We get deep down and dirty about the microaggressions, what can we do to support one another. Those are the things that the companies need to implement. And I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. There's a book here that I would encourage everybody to get. This is an amazing book. It is called Right Within. And it is by Minda Harts. And it is How to Heal from Racial Trauma in the Workplace.
Oh, wow.
Written by a Black woman. And it is amazing, y'all. Like my friend gave me this book and I was like, oh, I ain't gonna read that. And then I started going through some stuff and I was like, oh, let me read this. But it is amazing. It talks about, because we've been traumatized in the workplace too. So this is good right within. But yeah, these companies, they need to just become more aware and not sweep things under the rug, because you think about how many employees that are afraid to go to HR and afraid to speak up and talk about it. We got to create a culture of openness.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You know, the companies have, and that has to start from the top. It can't just start, you know, because we're talking amongst ourselves, because that goes nowhere. That cultural change has to start from the top and work its way all the way down throughout the entire organization.
Absolutely.
Or it don't work. It don't work. Like I've seen, you know, some companies try to, you know, create a change, but you're really not addressing it. You just created, like you said, you created a group. So who all want to talk about it? Y'all just go over there and y'all group up.
Right.
But
we're really not doing nothing.
And so I remember voicing, I was like, okay, what we're meeting for? Like, what's this for? I'm not spending my time, and I consider it wasting my time, because our conversations weren't going anywhere but between them. Never we would try to, you know, bring the higher ups in. They were too busy, or they say they do there and they're not there. They say they support it and they really don't support it. So really truly, until it starts at the top and work its way throughout the entire
Yes.
organization,
Yes.
it don't work. So
Yes.
my call is for organizations to really take a look at what it is that they are doing, what it is that their employees are speaking about, what challenges the employees are having. Do a survey of your people. Do a
Yes.
survey of your people and find out what the real issues are, and really let them know that you are invested in them
Yes.
having a healthy dose of mental health and wellness in the
Right.
workplace. Because at the end of the day, it's going to impact your bottom line one way or the other. Okay, it's going to impact your bottom line.
It takes follow through, so they have to follow through.
Exactly. So listen, you all, thank you for checking us out here for the part 1 and part 2 of our February series for energizeHER. It's all about mental wellness for the Black woman. So we're going to have a quick commercial from one of our sponsors here, and then we will see you back for session 2. Hold on, we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Leading Executive, the preferred leadership development, leadership training, and soft skills learning management platform for various organizations. At the Leading Executive, we believe in elevating your leaders' skills with experiential learning. Our platform offers a wide range of leadership training and soft skills courses that are designed to help your leaders unlock their full potential. Whether you're an individual looking to enhance your leadership skills or an organization looking to develop your team, the Leading Executive has got you covered. Our courses are designed to be engaging, interactive, and practical, ensuring that your leaders not only learn the skills, but also apply them in real-life situations. Our motto is unlock your leaders' full potential. We believe that every leader has the potential to be great, and our platform is designed to help them get there. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today and start unlocking your leader's full potential with the Leading Executive. The Leading Executive, elevate your leader skills with experiential learning.